Oh, that'll be fine.
Russell, put your head back for a minute. Okay.
Estimates from the Congressional Budget Office show that our current unemployment rate is at 9.8%. And according to the Commerce Department, we had an annual rate growth of 2.5% in the January to March quarter. Now, in a healthy economy, growth of 2.5% to 3% would be considered healthy. But the United States has not been able to maintain that rate since the recession ended nearly 4 years ago. Amid a struggling recovery, we have not been able to create enough growth to create enough jobs to reduce unemployment. And it's easy for reports like this to make us feel helpless. And for most of us, the issue seems too large for our actions to make a difference. In reality, the choices that we do make and the actions that we take do have an impact on both our lives and the lives of those around us. My name is Mandy Gibson. My purpose tonight is to encourage you to support small business by giving them your business. And the reason that I'm asking you to do this is because the choice you make on how you spend your money and where you choose to spend it does have a significant impact on your local economy and the job market in your area. By shifting just 10% of your current spending from chain stores and online retailers to locally owned small businesses, you can boost your local economy and you can help create more jobs. Now, the first thing that I'd like to talk to you about tonight is what really happens with the money that you spend at locally owned businesses. Locally owned businesses actually put more of their revenue, they put more of their revenue back into the local economy than do their chain store competitors. Studies by a research firm called Civic Economics has shown that for every $100 that you spend at a local business, 68 of those dollars are actually put back into the local economy. Now you compare this to the $43 that are put back into the local economy when you spend that money at a chain store. The same research firm has additionally shown that local retailers actually re-spend 3 times more of each sales dollar than do their chain store competitors. How that works is that when you actually shop at a local business, you are supporting more than just the employer and the owner and the employees of that local business. Because local businesses also hire local architects, local cabinet shops. They hire local contractors. They hire local maintenance firms to build and run their local offices. They also hire local accountants, local attorneys, local advertising agencies. They hire local banks, and they create additional growth for those local vendors. You compare that to chains that are set up nationally. All national chains have 1 or 2 home offices. So all the chains across the nation, when you spend money there, that all funnels back to those 1 or 2 home offices in the nation. And those 1 or 2 home offices are the ones who hire the accountants. They hire the maintenance firms that take care of the entire nation. So your local economy is completely cut out of that equation with the national chains. In addition to that, local retailers and distributors typically sell a higher rate of locally produced goods and services, which creates additional opportunity for folks who create locally owned products. Now, one of the most significant facts that I'll be sharing with you about the impact that locally owned businesses have on the economy and on our job market is a statistic from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. According to the United States Chamber of Commerce, America's 27 million small businesses represent 99% of employers in our nation. And for every 4 jobs that are created, 3 of those 4 new jobs come from locally owned businesses. So you can see, based on the economic factor that happens and the jobs that local businesses support, it's important for us to support our small businesses so that local economic growth, so that they have the opportunity to thrive and to grow and create additional opportunities. Now, in addition to your local dollars at a small business supporting your local economy, there are also benefits to your local community, because small businesses also help build a stronger community. Nonprofit organizations receive about $250 more, 250% more support from small business owners than they do from large corporations. Small business owners are also, they live in the communities that they do business in. They're less likely to leave, and they have a vested interest in the future and the success of that small community. So you find a lot of small business owners, they serve on community boards, they serve on town boards, they support local schools. They also donate a lot of their own time and money into community projects in order to help the community become a better place to live. And they do so because they have a vested interest both in the people who live in those communities and in the community itself. Now, so we've talked a little bit about why local businesses can help boost the local economy, also how they create additional job opportunities, and also how they build stronger communities. I believe that it's important to support the people who support our communities by giving them our business when we can. So a lot of you may now be thinking, okay, well, I can see how it can boost our local economy, and I'm on board with, making our community better. But I have a budget. I have a monthly budget that I need to meet, and it's hard for me to go away from the chain stores because the chain stores can provide me a better deal. I have a budget to meet, I only have so much money, and I need to shop at these chain stores like the Walmarts of the world. I need to shop there because I can get a good deal. And I'm not here to dissuade you from shopping at chain stores. I think that chain stores and online retailers have their place and they serve a good purpose. And my goal here tonight is not to stop anyone from shopping there. This is where that 10% shift comes in. The 10% shift movement was started in New England in 2008, right when the economic crisis was really kind of beginning, and people were beginning to understand that this wasn't going to turn around on its own, that things were happening too slowly, and that something needed to be done. We needed to do something about it. We couldn't wait for someone else to do something. So this movement began in New England, and since then it has been featured in CNN Money, it's been featured in Forbes magazine, and it's been highlighted in a lot of local news organizations across the nation. And the 10% shift is simply about taking a look at your current monthly purchases, where you spend your money right now, and finding a way to take just 10% of your current spending and shift it from a chain store or an online retailer and putting it into a small business. And some examples of what this might look like, some small examples. Maybe buying your bread at a local bakery, or buying your produce at the local farmer's market, as opposed to buying those things with the rest of your groceries at Walmart when you shop there to eat your groceries. Maybe it is buying your home maintenance items. The next time you need to do a home project, go to your local MFA or your local hardware store instead of going again to Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot. Also, the next time you're going out to eat, choose a locally owned restaurant as opposed to a chain. All of these things can make a big difference. Some bigger examples may be financing your home or financing your next vehicle at your local bank. Maybe it's purchasing your appliances at a locally owned appliance store as opposed to a large chain. Look at your next vehicle purchase at a locally owned car dealership as opposed to a larger chain. All of these things can make a significant impact. And to really show you guys the impact that this can make, I'd like to share with you another study done by Civic Economics. This was a study done in 5 major cities, and it showed the impact that could be made if all of us chose to do that just 10% shift in our current spending. They showed that in these 5 major cities, if 10% of current purchases will be shifted from chain stores, online retailers, to locally owned small businesses, it would create 1,600 new jobs. It would create nearly $140 million in new economic activity in those areas, and it would create $53 million in new wage earnings. And this is not additional money that we're talking about spending. This is taking money that is currently being spent and shifting just 10% of that current pot from chain retailers to small businesses. If we take just 10% of our current spending, we shifted over 1,600 new jobs, nearly $140 million worth of new economic activity, and $53 million worth of new wages. That's what that 10% shift can do. I urge you to go home and review your spending. Take a look at your monthly purchases and see where you're spending them. And then find a way to take just 10% of your current spending and shift it over to a locally owned business. Now, a lot of you may already do that. You may take a look at your current spending and say, wow, I spend 20% of my current earnings at locally owned businesses. And if you do, that's great, and I applaud you. And I ask you to see if you can do more. I also ask you to share some of this information with your friends and family, with your neighbors, with other people, to see if we can get that movement going. Because I really do believe that if you support locally owned businesses, you can boost your local economy and you can help create new jobs. You can also help build a stronger community because more of that money is circulated within local charities and community projects. It's invested in community projects. And shifting just 10% of your earnings to small businesses doesn't mean that you have to spend more money. Local businesses are competitively priced. And if you do pay slightly more, you'll also be getting you'll be getting a better service, and you might also be getting a higher quality product. So, I urge you to make the choice to shift just 10% of your current spending to locally owned businesses. And if you make that choice, if you decide to support locally owned businesses, you'll also be deciding to support your community, your neighbors, and your future. Thank you.
Very good.